I was grabbing a drink from the fridge when I heard her voice from the hallway. Not loud, but sharp. The kind of tone she used when she was trying to sound sweet but was actually drawing a line. No, no, don't worry about it. I'll tell him we're not going. He'll understand, she said. I froze. She was on the phone, and I had a feeling it was about my birthday weekend. Yeah, she went on. His mountain biking thing? It's not that important. My family always comes first. He's second. Always has been. My hand tightened on the Gatorade bottle. I didn't move. I just stood there and listened while something cold settled in my gut. She hung up a minute later and walked into the kitchen like nothing happened. I didn't say anything at first. Just took a sip of my drink and waited. She finally glanced up and said, "So, we need to cancel the trip. My brother needs help with a warehouse thing this weekend." I looked right at her. Good to know. What? She said, acting confused. You said I'm second, I replied. Good to know. She paused. It's not like that. He's family. This is important. He needs help setting up a rental, some pop-up idea. We'll do your trip another time. No, I said. We're not canceling. She blinked. What do you mean? No? He's counting on us. I set the bottle down hard. I've had this planned for 3 months. It's my birthday weekend. I'm not skipping it because your brother had a last-minute brainstorm. She crossed her arms. It's just how things are. My family helps each other. And I'm not part of that. Got it. You're overreacting. I shook my head. No, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. She looked like she still didn't get it. Like I was the one being unreasonable. I'm going, I said. With or without you. Her eyes narrowed. Seriously. I didn't answer. I just turned, walked to the bedroom, and started packing. She stood in the doorway, watching me like she didn't recognize me. I kept folding shirts, stuffing gear into my duffel. I didn't say another word. She didn't stop me. Not really. Just stood there and let it happen. I tossed my duffel in the back of the truck and pulled out of the driveway without looking back. The second I hit the interstate, it was like a weight lifted off my chest. The music was loud, the windows were down, and I wasn't thinking about her or her damn brother. I texted my buddy Nate halfway there. Change of plans. You in for the weekend? He didn't even ask what happened. Just sent back, hell yeah, give me an hour. We hit the trailhead the next morning with barely any sleep and too much gas station coffee. 2 full days in the mountains. Steep climbs, hard drops, muddy trails. Exactly what I needed. That cold air cutting through my jacket. The sound of tires hitting dirt. That beer after the last run, man. I hadn't felt that free in years. And guess what? No fights. No passive-aggressive comments. No one dragging me into another half-baked family crisis. Just me, my friend, and the kind of silence that clears your head. She called the first morning. Then again. And again. When I didn't answer, the text started. You're really doing this? So you just leave without talking? Wow. I hope you're happy. I didn't answer a single one. On the drive back, my phone was full of guilt, anger, and one pathetic, we need to talk. I didn't respond. The house was quiet when I got back. Her car was in the driveway, but she didn't come out of the bedroom. Fine by me. That night, I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop and started taking care of business. First, I opened a separate checking account in my name only. Then a savings account. I rerouted my direct deposit, called HR. Took maybe 15 minutes. Next, I calculated exactly what 50% of the bills came out to. Rent, utilities, groceries. Wrote it all down in a shared spreadsheet. No more covering until payday or bailing out her brother when his cards got maxed. I was done playing the bank. Then came the card. The one with my name on it that she kept just in case her family's little projects hit a snag. Which they always did. I logged in, pulled up the settings, and removed her as an authorized user. Didn't say a word about it. Just waited. 2 days later, I came home from work and found her storming through the kitchen, waving her phone like it bit her. What the hell happened to the credit card? She snapped. I walked past her and dropped my keys in the bowl. It's mine. I took you off it. You can't just... My mom tried to pay the venue deposit with it today. It got declined. That's because I stopped funding your family's problems. She stared at me like I'd slapped her. Are you serious right now? Completely, I said. You want to use a card? Get one in your name. I'm not paying for pop-ups, fundraisers, or last-minute emergencies anymore. That's over. She scoffed. You're acting like a stranger. I shrugged. Maybe I'm just done being the idiot who covers for people who treat him like an afterthought. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Just stood there with that same stunned look from the day I packed my bag. I walked past her again, headed straight to the fridge. I grabbed a beer, popped the top, and took a long drink. She didn't follow. She didn't speak. And I didn't look back. She waited until the next morning to explode. I was eating eggs at the counter when she marched in, hair a mess, holding her phone like it was a damn court exhibit. You're cold, she said, without even a good morning. This is cold and selfish. You think this makes you a man? You think this is what a husband does? I didn't look up. A husband, huh? The one who's second place in his own marriage. She slammed her hand on the counter. You're twisting my words. I didn't mean it like that. No, you meant it exactly like that, I said. And I'm just adjusting to the position you gave me. She stared at me, breathing hard. This is about money? This is about boundaries. Mine. You crossed them for years, and now I'm setting them. So now you're just heartless? I stood up, put my plate in the sink. No, I just stopped lighting myself on fire to keep your family warm. She didn't respond, just grabbed her purse, muttered something about needing air, and left. 2 hours later, I got a text. Staying at my parents'. Don't know when I'll be back. Cool. I didn't waste time. Went straight to the spare room and pulled all her crafting crap. Bins, boxes, glitter-covered nonsense. Out into the garage. Every single piece. Didn't break anything, didn't throw a tantrum. Just cleared the space. Next morning, I bought a desk off Facebook Marketplace and set up my laptop. Hung some shelves. Rolled in a small tool chest for my bike gear. Office, done. Then I signed up for a beginner carpentry class. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 6 to 9. Something I always wanted to do but never got around to because she didn't get hobbies that didn't benefit the family. Whatever that meant. That weekend, I registered with a local cycling club. Rode with them Saturday morning. Grabbed breakfast with a few guys afterward. Nothing fancy. Just normal. No drama. No passive-aggressive sighs. No guilt for spending 2 hours doing something for myself. The silence at home was beautiful, but it didn't last. She started texting again, acting like nothing happened. Brunch at my parents' Sunday. Usual time. I left it on read. Next week. You coming to brunch? Nope. Third week, she got creative. It's a business meeting, not just brunch. We need to present something to investors. I responded with, not my business. Literally. The more I ignored, the more she pushed. Like if she kept pretending nothing had changed, she could drag me back into the circus. I spent one Sunday morning out in the garage, building a rough shelf for the office wall, while she sat in her car in the driveway for 10 minutes, probably deciding whether to come inside. She didn't, just drove off. She still texted every weekend after that. Every invite, every fake emergency. Every time I said no, she'd wait a few hours, then try again with a different angle, guilt, obligation, even pity. But I'd already made my decision. I wasn't going back. I was on the couch, half watching the news, when I heard multiple car doors slam. Then the front door opened without a knock. She walked in first. Her parents and sister followed right behind her, and then her brother, limping, one eye swollen shut, lips split wide open. He looked like he got jumped in an alley. Nobody said anything right away. They just stood there like they were expecting me to do something. Like the sight of him busted up would automatically make me open my wallet. I muted the TV. Her dad cleared his throat. We need to talk. I stood up, arms crossed. So talk. Her mom stepped forward, hands clenched together. It's bad. He made some investments. A warehouse lease for a crypto thing. A pop-up. I cut in. Yeah. I heard. She blinked, caught off guard. Her husband jumped in. He owes 35 grand. He's got until Friday. These people, he motioned toward his son, don't mess around. Her brother didn't even look at me, just sat on the arm of the recliner, wiping dried blood off his chin with a paper towel. My wife spoke up finally. They could kill him. We're all doing what we can, but we're short. I stayed quiet. Her sister's voice cracked. You need to step up. I turned toward her. Why? She looked at me like I just asked why the sky was blue. Because you're family. You're his brother-in-law. I shook my head. Not my problem. Her dad's jaw clenched. Don't play dumb. You've helped before. We know what you make. Just cut the check. No. He stepped forward. What kind of man lets his wife's family suffer? I didn't flinch. The kind who's done being used. You all had your hands in my pockets for years. It ends now. Her mom started crying. Quiet sobs, hands shaking. He's our son. He made a mistake. Please. I looked at her, then at the wreck sitting across from me. A mistake? Or a scam that didn't pan out? Her sister snapped. You heartless prick. Funny, I said. I was a saint when I paid for your last business brunch with my card. Her dad's face turned red. You smug little bastard. You think this is funny? Nope. Just finally clear. He stepped toward me again. You think we won't remember this? Don't care, I said. None of you were worried about my birthday weekend. You didn't care when she told me I was second. But now your son's in deep, and suddenly I'm supposed to save the day. I looked straight at my wife. You told me how things are, I said. I believed you. She stared at me, face pale, like the floor had dropped out from under her. If you don't help him, I don't see how we stay married. I didn't even blink. Okay. The room went dead silent. Her mom's crying stopped. Her sister's mouth hung open. Her dad's fists dropped to his sides. And her brother finally looked up. But my wife, she was the only one who looked genuinely shocked. Like it hadn't even crossed her mind I'd actually call her bluff. You're choosing money over me? She said quietly. No, I said. I'm choosing myself over being bled dry. She took a step back. I can't believe you. You made it easy. No one said another word. They stood there for another 10 seconds, maybe 15. Then her dad grabbed his son by the arm and muttered, Let's go. They filed out one by one except for her. She stayed standing in the middle of the living room, frozen. I walked past her, grabbed the remote, unmuted the news. She didn't follow, didn't say goodbye, just left. 2 days later, I was walking back from lunch when I heard yelling in the front office. At first, I didn't think it had anything to do with me, but then I heard my name, loud, pissed off, and familiar. I want to speak to that coward son-in-law of mine. I stopped cold. Her dad was standing in the middle of the reception area, shouting at the front desk assistant, while 2 other coworkers hovered awkwardly nearby. He had his chest puffed out, finger pointed like he owned the place. There you are, he snapped when he spotted me. You think you can screw over a family and walk around like a big man? I kept my voice level. You need to leave. He took a step toward me. You left my son to get beat to hell. You're trash. You're no man. You're a disgrace. I didn't say a word, just stared him down until someone from HR stepped in. Sir, this is a workplace. You need to leave or we're calling the police. You think I care? He ruined my daughter's life. He left her when she needed him. What kind of husband? Get out, I said, cutting him off. Security came and finally he stormed out, cussing all the way back to his truck. HR didn't let it go. 30 minutes later, I was sitting in a conference room, trying to explain the mess. I know how it looked, I said, but this is a personal situation. My wife's family is dealing with some stuff. I didn't think he'd come here. The HR rep gave me that tight, polite smile. Just document everything from now on. Any more disruptions and we escalate. Embarrassing? Yeah. Frustrating? Hell yes. That night, I got a voicemail from my aunt in Ohio. She was crying. I heard what happened. How could you turn your back on family? Your wife's mom said you left them in danger. I had to spend 45 minutes calling my uncles, cousins, even my grandma, one by one, explaining that no, I didn't abandon anyone. I just stopped being their ATM. My mom called last. "What the hell is going on?" she asked. So I told her everything, how I'd covered the brothers' failed landscaping thing, then the frozen yogurt van, then the network marketing app, then the warehouse. And how every time I was expected to act like it was normal. She went quiet for a second, then said, "They've been using you." "Yeah," I said. "And now they're mad they can't anymore." 2 days after that, I came out of work and found my back bumper keyed. Deep gouges like someone had taken a screwdriver to it. No note, no camera, no proof. But I knew. I filed a police report anyway. Didn't expect anything to come of it. Just wanted a paper trail in case things got worse. Then came the softball game. I played every other Wednesday in a local league. Easy, casual, good stress relief. After a close game, I was walking to my truck, still in my cleats, when I heard her voice behind me. "You really think you're the victim here?" It was her sister. She had her arms crossed, eyes locked on me like she'd been waiting. "You left him to get beat down," she said. "That's blood on your hands." I didn't stop walking. "He owes money. That's not my fault. He's our brother, not mine. You married into this family, and I'm divorcing out of it." That shut her up for a second. Then she hissed, "You could have helped. You just didn't want to." I turned to face her. "No, I didn't. And I don't owe any of you another damn thing." She looked stunned, like no one had ever talked back to her in her life. I unlocked my door and got in. She stayed standing there, staring like she thought she could guilt me into changing my mind. But I was already gone. 2 days after the softball parking lot stunt, I got called into HR again. I knew something was up the second I walked into the office, and the woman I normally dealt with wasn't alone. There was a second guy there, legal department apparently, and both of them had that tight, neutral look that screamed, "This isn't a chat. There's been a complaint," she said. "Anonymous. Says you made threatening statements about your wife's family, both inside and outside of work." I almost laughed. "Seriously? This is formal now," the guy said. "We need a written statement. Detail any recent conflicts involving your in-laws." It was humiliating. I spent over an hour at that little side desk, typing up every detail like I was some kind of liability. What started as personal drama had officially crawled into my professional life. I listed the warehouse mess, the card removals, the scene in the office, even the keyed car and the harassment at softball. I kept it all factual, no emotion, just dates, names, and what happened. When I handed it in, they both nodded without saying much. "Anything else, document it," the woman added, "even if you think it's small." So that's what I did. I made a folder, screenshots of texts, voicemail transcriptions, call logs, even photos of my car. Every dumb stunt they pulled, I kept it. If they were going to play dirty, I wasn't going in blind. That weekend, my phone buzzed with a message from my wife. "I'd like to talk. Just us. No drama." I stared at it for a few minutes before responding. "Fine. 1 hour. Public place." We agreed on a coffee shop near the park. Neutral ground. I showed up early, grabbed a drink, picked a table near the window. I was expecting tension, sure, but I wasn't expecting her to walk in 10 minutes late with her mom right behind her. I stood up the second I saw both of them. "Nope. Wait," she said, reaching for my arm. "Just hear us out." "You lied," I said, stepping back. "You said just you." Her mom jumped in. "This affects the whole family. You're acting like—" I held up a hand. "I don't care. You owe us an explanation," she snapped. "No, I don't." My wife stayed quiet for a second, then finally said, "You're being impossible. You're still defending your brother after everything." I said, "You don't see it, do you? He made his bed. I'm not cleaning it up." Her eyes welled up, but I was already done. I walked past both of them, out the front door, and into the parking lot. Didn't answer when she called again later that night. Didn't open the text she sent the next morning. I blocked her number. Then I blocked her mom's. Deleted the thread, archived the messages, and added screenshots to the folder. That was the last time I gave either of them a chance to speak. 3 weeks later, I got the envelope. Certified mail. Heavy, like it was weighed down with petty. Divorce paperwork, finally. I flipped through the pages at my kitchen table, eyes skimming past the legal jargon until I hit the bullet points. She wanted half the house, half my retirement, and 10 grand for emotional distress. I let out a short laugh, bitter as hell. Next morning, I hired a lawyer, a friend of a friend who'd handled a couple messy breakups. She read through the paperwork, then looked at me over the rim of her coffee mug and said, "She's dreaming." We filed a formal response the same week. No emotion, no insults, just facts. Receipts, account statements, dates of transfers. 5 years of money trails backing up every claim I'd ever made about propping up her family's nonsense. They came back dirty. Requests for old text messages out of context. Claims I'd emotionally abandoned her when I refused to bail out her brother. They tried to spin everything like I'd been cruel, like I had obligations I walked away from. My lawyer didn't flinch. Every time they threw mud, she hit them with numbers. "You paid what on her mom's lease? Why? Who's this $4,800 Venmo to labeled Bro Emergency? Why are there recurring payments to a frozen yogurt truck that hasn't been operational since 2022? We didn't have to lie. We didn't even push hard. We just held up the mirror. And word started getting around. Her parents' business loan went into default. Apparently they'd leveraged some property they couldn't actually afford to lose. The storefront got padlocked, signs gone overnight. Her sister's marriage cracked next. I didn't know the details, but I heard from a mutual friend that her husband had finally asked, "Where's all our money going?" Guess he didn't love the answer. Meanwhile, my ex started texting again, this time from random numbers. Different area codes, burner-style messages. "You ruined everything. My family is falling apart and you just sit there. If you'd helped with the warehouse, none of this would have happened." I didn't bite. Not once. Every message went straight to my lawyer. She told me to keep quiet, so I did. She also said, "People like this feed on reaction. You're starving them. Let them starve." I was done being the guy who picked up the pieces after everyone else's mess. The court date was set. The storm was building. But I wasn't worried anymore. I had the paperwork. I had the proof. I had peace. And I wasn't giving that up for anyone. We got to the courthouse early. My lawyer liked to scout the room, get a feel for the judge, pick the seats that gave us the best line of sight. I liked her style. Quiet, sharp, surgical. They showed up 20 minutes late, parading in like it was a funeral and a press conference rolled into one. Her mom, dad, sister, brother, all there. Even some cousin I'd never met. They sat in a tight row behind her like a damn entourage. Every one of them glaring at me like I was the villain in a soap opera. I didn't even flinch. The judge walked in, we stood, the bailiff did the routine, and then it began. Her lawyer kicked things off with full performance mode. Voice soft, hand gestures slow, eyes darting between the judge and her client like she was telling a heartbreaking story. She said I was emotionally cruel, that I isolated my wife from her support system, that I withheld financial resources as punishment. I could feel the bile rise, but I didn't move. My lawyer had already warned me, "Don't react. Let it fall flat." She was emotionally abandoned, the attorney added, left with no security while her husband spent frivolously on hobbies and trips, ignoring family responsibilities. The judge nodded, scribbled a note, and said, "Okay, defense." That's when my lawyer stood up, calm, collected, nothing flashy. She started with one spreadsheet. "5 years of joint finances, Your Honor," she said. Documented transfers to the plaintiff's parents, to her brother, to their failed businesses, totaling over $68,000. All from my client's income. She clicked through pages like clockwork. Here's a lease he paid for. Here's a catering deposit. Here's 4 different Venmo payments marked help or loan that were never repaid. Then she pulled out the texts. Here's the plaintiff stating, My family always comes first. You're second. That's not an insult. That's a declaration of priority. She didn't even raise her voice. Emotional abuse implies manipulation, control, intimidation. What we see here is a man drawing boundaries after years of being financially and emotionally taken advantage of. The judge didn't interrupt once, just kept looking through the binder we'd prepared. After 15 more minutes of evidence, he closed it and leaned back. From what I've reviewed, he said, this appears to be the breakdown of a marriage with significant financial strain. I see no proof of abuse. I see poor boundaries, misaligned priorities, and resentment, none of which qualify for alimony or additional damages. Her lawyer tried to jump in. But, Your Honor, the judge held up a hand. No alimony, no compensation for emotional distress, no legal fees to be awarded. Assets will be divided as required. House split 50-50. Retirement funds split equally. Her mom let out a gasp loud enough to echo. Her dad muttered something under his breath, loud enough that the bailiff glanced his way. Her sister scowled, arms crossed tight, and my ex just stared at the floor like she was waiting for a different ending. The judge stood, banged the gavel once, and walked out. Case closed. We started packing up our folders. I didn't say a word to anyone in her row. Didn't look back, didn't make a scene. But as I reached the door, I caught one last glimpse of them. Her mom was sobbing into a tissue. Her dad glared at me like I'd robbed them blind. Her brother looked hungover. Her sister looked ready to throw something. And her, still staring at nothing, like she hadn't figured out how everything fell apart. They drained me dry, and I just stopped bleeding for them. I had just stepped out the courthouse doors when I heard footsteps behind me. Fast, angry. Wait, don't walk away. Her dad. I didn't stop, just kept moving toward the sidewalk. He caught up, grabbed my arm. You think this is done? You think you won? I yanked my arm free. It's over. You lost in court. Go home. His voice dropped. She's your wife. Was. She gave you her best years. I stared at him. You gave me her bills, her excuses, her brother. He dropped the act, went from pleading to bitter in 2 seconds flat. We needed your help. That's it. Now you've turned your back, and look where it's gotten us. You got yourselves here. Just then I heard yelling from behind. Louder, sloppier. My stomach sank. Her brother. He came storming across the plaza like a drunk linebacker, shirt wrinkled, eyes bloodshot. You think you're a man? He shouted. You let them take everything from me. 2 security guards standing near the steps noticed right away and started closing in. He shoved a garbage can out of the way and pointed right at me. You're a FNG coward. You ruined my life. I didn't flinch, just kept my eyes on the guards as they moved in and grabbed his arms. He thrashed for a second, then got pulled back, still yelling. I'll find you. You think this is over? One of the guards turned to me. You okay, sir? Yeah, I said. He's just mad I stopped paying for his screw-ups. They escorted him back down the block, still cussing, still struggling. I didn't stick around to watch him vanish. I just walked to my truck, got in, and drove away. The house sold in 10 days. Hot market, good neighborhood. We split the profit, 85 grand to me, and she practically begged the title company to rush her cut. She needed it, fast. Word was her parents had lost the business property. Loan defaulted, back taxes caught up, and the building was seized. Just like that, their little legacy shop was gone. Then her sister's husband left, packed up and moved in with a coworker. Something about finally realizing their money was being siphoned off to prop up the rest of the family. As for her brother, he vanished. No one knew where he went. Probably skipped town again, chasing another get-rich fantasy with someone else's money. And her? She ended up in a 1-bedroom studio behind a dry cleaner, working 2 jobs, barista in the mornings, cashier at a thrift store in the afternoons. No more pop-ups, no more brunches, no more family projects. They blamed her now. She'd been the one who brought me in, the one who let their whole operation lean on my back. And when I pulled away, the tower collapsed. Right on top of them. I wasn't celebrating. I wasn't bitter. But I wasn't surprised either. They built their lives on taking. And eventually, they just ran out of people to take from. A month after the house closed, I bought a condo on the edge of town. Clean, modern, no shared walls, no history. Just peace and space that actually belonged to me. No glitter glue in the closet. No bins of craft crap stacked to the ceiling. No brunch reminders taped to the fridge. Just my tools, my bike, my life, quiet, simple, mine. I started dating again. Nothing serious at first, just getting out. Meeting people who didn't treat me like a walking debit card. Then I met Hannah. She was a high school math teacher. Funny, sharp, no nonsense. Paid for her own coffee. Didn't flinch when I said I had boundaries. She didn't ask for anything I wasn't offering. Then one night, my phone lit up with a number I didn't recognize. Area code from out of state. I almost ignored it, but something told me to check. It was her. You ruined my life. We were fine until you turned on us. You abandoned everything. I sat with it for a second, then typed one reply. Your family destroyed itself. I just stopped paying for it. Then I blocked the number. Didn't wait for a response. Later that week in therapy, my therapist asked, "Do you ever feel guilty? Like you could have handled it differently?" I shook my head. No, I was used. He nodded, didn't say much. Just let the silence hang in the air like he wanted me to second guess it. I didn't. The revenge wasn't loud. I didn't torch their house or out them on social media. I didn't fight dirty or scream in court. I just stopped giving. That's it. And I sleep fine now.